audio description is something that is required by persons with vision disabled, and we don't have any devices as such in India that can deliver the audio description tracks in the theaters. India is home to at least 7 crore visually impaired, and Indian cinema is known worldwide, so there is a craze for Indian cinema content and there is users in India. So why not make it available? So we started the first pilot with the movie Sanju in 2018. Since then, there was no looking back until there was a pause in during pandemic. So 2020, there was a pause that the theaters were closed. We were all locked in the house, but the users who were in touch with me kept demanding for entertainment content, because even the OTT content that you and I enjoy today for our leisure have bare minimum audio description. So that's when I launched as No Barrier Foundation, and the product name is Nobaflix, which is world's first and only 100% accessible OTT for persons with verified visual impairment.
Hello and welcome to the India Autism Center podcast at the Purple Fest Goa 2025. I have with me somebody here who I would first like to introduce as a friend. But more importantly than that, she's somebody who's making entertainment accessible to persons with disabilities through her two startups, Excel Cinema and Nobaflix. We'll be talking about both of them and her journey in the space of disability and why she decided to get into the space as well. Thank you so much, Dipti Prasad, for joining us. On National Awardee Dipti Prasad, that's how you wanted to be introduced, right?
Absolutely.
So, Dipti, why did you enter the space of disability? I mean, you're not a person with a disability, you don't have a family member with a disability. And normally, those are the triggers which make people enter the sector.
So for me, it was a business opportunity. I started Excel Cinema as extra language cinema.
Oh, that's what Excel means. I did not know that till today.
So I was trying to break the language barrier because of a personal experience with my father. So I grew up in Dubai. My family still resides in Dubai. Back in 2012, I forced my father to watch the movie Avengers with me because that's the kind of genre he enjoys. But because the movie was in English and the spoken English and the movie English is a little different, the dialogue delivery is faster, the accents are different, I kept translating the entire movie for him and disturbed a lot of people sitting around us. Hence, couldn't enjoy my movie experience. But when I got back after this vacation to India, I realized PVR was hosting Avengers in Hindi. And that got me thinking, if somebody has spent money on the dubbing, why not make it available all over the globe, because Hindi-speaking audience are all over the globe. And that's when the research started that why not to have a mobile application that users can download on their personal smartphones, use their personal earphones without any hardware cost to either exhibitors or to the content creators, and provide them the feature of choosing your own movie language. And that's how it started. But soon I realized that audio description is something that is required by persons with vision disabilities. And we don't have any devices as such in India that can deliver the audio description tracks in the theaters. So I felt that the app completely fits in this use case. And India is home to at least 7 crore visually impaired. And Indian cinema is known worldwide. So there is a craze for Indian cinema content and there is users in India. So why not make it available? So we started the first pilot with the movie Sanju in 2018. Since then, there was no looking back until there was a pause in during pandemic. So 2020, there was a pause that the theaters were closed. We were all locked in the house, but the users who were in touch with me kept demanding for entertainment content, because even the OTT content that you and I enjoy today for our leisure have bare minimum audio description. So that's when I launched as No Barrier Foundation, and the product name is Nobaflix, which is world's first and only 100% accessible OTT for persons with verified visual impairment.
Wow, that's fantastic, and that's quite a journey. So Excel Cinema provides audio descriptions. We'll go through both these apps separately, right?
Sure.
Excel Cinema provides audio descriptions to movies. So you basically go into a theater with your friends and you plug in your headphones and start hearing audio descriptions. Is that what it does?
So for sign language users, if they need sign language for movies, they can simply turn on the Excel Cinema app and watch the sign language. Basically, the movie is...
While watching the movie in the theater?
Yes.
So you hold your phone on the side and start...
Correct. Or for, say, subtitles or closed captions. So if you prefer a Hindi movie but you want to read the signs you want to read the captions in English, that is possible. So you can play around
So how
with
does
the
the
language.
logistics work? Like you're looking at two screens together because you'll be looking at the theater screen.
So
And
currently,
your phone
this is
screen?
the best solution, which is bringing inclusion. I know it is not comfortable for the user, but during Purple Fest, I have piloted on something. There's a device that we are trying to introduce, which can be placed in front of the seat before you, and that reflects the signs on the phone. So
Oh
it's like
wow.
a book, and it's one side is a reflector. You place your phone, and on the reflector screen, which is translucent, so you can watch the big screen as well as watch the signs together in a single vision.
Has any theater agreed to launch this?
This is a pilot that I'm trying to run at the Purple Fest, trying to gather user feedback right now. And in the last 2 days, it's been quite hit.
That's fantastic. And with the Excel Cinema app in its original form, actually a theater doesn't need to do anything, right? You can just go to
Absolutely. So I'm
any
trying to-
theater and watch a movie with friends. I think it's because
Correct.
watching movies is a social exercise as well. So
Absolutely. Not just social, I feel educational. There's so much content which is educational, which is bringing the society together. And irrespective to whether a person with disability or not, one needs to consume that content because these are stories that are happening among us as a society.
So you're making movies accessible to the deaf and the blind. That. And what are the regulations regarding that? Are movie producers also mandated to make movies accessible? Are you working with them, or is it an independent effort by you?
No, so I work with the production houses. And since I'm doing this since 2018, there's a good rapport. There's a brand image that I've created for my company, for my work. And of course, the national award is the cherry on the cake because the credibility is even more now that I'm here to work and I'm here to serve. So, in my experience, honestly, the production houses are not against accessibility. It's just that they lack knowledge. And because of, say, my efforts or me constantly banging on their doors, trying to convince them to make their movies accessible, now we have quite a lot of production houses who have given us long-term contracts. So every movie that comes in has to be hosted on Excel Cinema platform. And we also are the service provider to them, which means that we create the accessible format and also host the accessible format.
That's fantastic. And if a movie producer is watching this, what is the and movie producers obviously spend crores in making any movie. What is the incremental cost that is required to make a movie accessible? I assume it's not so much. It's just that they don't know about it.
So again, it differs. If it is a long-term contract, we offer different rates. If it is just a one-off,
Could you tell us a range if you're not?
less than 5 lakh, you can say, for hosting and
And
creation.
that's nothing for movies which go into crores in terms of budgets.
Absolutely.
Right? So,
And plus, I just don't want them to look at this as an additional cost. They're getting additional footfalls in the cinema.
there's a business case for this.
Absolutely. So extra tickets being sold, extra F&B being sold. So at the end of the day, a person with disability who walks into the theater puts money in somebody's pocket and walks out.
Absolutely. And we are the Purple Fest. We're talking about the purple economy. This is a perfect example of the fact that it's not charity that movie producers are going to do by investing in this, but it's a business case. And I like the fact that you are looking at it as a for-profit venture rather than non-profit in that sense. You also started Nobaflix immediately after the pandemic, I believe.
So during the pandemic, I was in touch with the community members, and they kept demanding content. And for me, I think by default, it's become that the moment I enter a new premises, a new city, or a new building, or a new mall, my radars for accessibility are on. I'm looking at the venue whether a wheelchair user will be able to walk in. I'm looking at the washrooms whether a blind person will be able to navigate, and so on. So there was that I realized this when I launched the first movie on Excel Cinema, that what about the old content? Indian cinema has over 100,000 movies which are already in public domain, inaccessible. So somebody needs to take up that responsibility also. And then during the pandemic, I realized that the donation mechanism, it needs some innovation there, some transparency needs to be done there. An OTT platform is the best solution. And I wanted to genuinely do this because I think this has become a soul calling, that I want to provide entertainment to persons with disability. And what about the old content? So host it on an OTT platform. So if I explain you the startup Nobaflix, it's cool to call it a startup, but it's actually an NGO. User installs the application on Android and iOS. It's free. Once they try to play any content, we take them on a verification page. The user needs to verify themselves as a visually impaired. So either they can upload their disability certificate or UDID card. I have collaborated with 50 odd organizations who are already working for the visually impaired community in India. or we do blind shows. There's a whole program which is called Sugam Cinema Yatra. So my team is going to blind schools, playing one movie, giving them that education, what is audio description, creating awareness about the platform, verifying these users, bringing them on board, and then they need to buy a subscription. So it's a subscription-based platform because the vision is sustainability. It can't always be my bank accounts or my pocket paying salaries and doing all kinds of things. Of course, passion hai, I'm doing it, but it has to be a sustainable model. So community का अपना OTT platform है जो community अपने पैसों से चलाती है. So they buy the subscription plan. Students, young people who are acquiring skills who are not financially independent yet, for them we have a request for sponsorship button. They request for sponsorship and somebody else comes and pays on behalf
How
of
many
them.
subscribers do you have right now?
Roughly around 35,000 now.
Already?
Yes.
And you started this in?
2 years ago.
Wow, that's pretty fast. And how did you manage getting such a big catalog of movies on Nobaflix? Because it's a pretty impressive
So it's
catalog
the
that you have.
users. The biggest fan following I have is Mr. Taha. He keeps recommending me the library suggestions, which movie. So users keep reaching out to me through social media, emails, WhatsApp messages, and they keep suggesting, humko ye movie chahiye. This is the movie that we really want to watch. And I've realized the visually impaired community is obsessed with horror movies.
Oh, really?
Absolutely.
That's interesting.
their
I would never have
favorite
thought
genre.
so. Okay.
Because if you notice, horror movie has a lot of visual elements which are not described in dialogues or which cannot be understood in dialogues.
So with audio descriptions, it's suddenly becoming very accessible. Whereas other movies, they might still manage watching without audio descriptions. And are you also working on audio descriptions for the bigger OTT platforms? Is that another service that you provide?
So it's basically the chain that starts from theatre. So the moment movies come on Excel Cinema for theatre, then that movie travels, say, to Netflix or Prime Video or Hotstar. That's the same audio description that's carried and hosted on these platforms.
That's pretty cool, yeah? And you're providing sign language in both Excel Cinema and Nobaflix.
No, Nobaflix not yet. Nobaflix started with keeping the friends who were demanding for content, the visually impaired community. But I don't mind hosting sign language content also. But let's see how economically feasible that becomes.
You've run a business now catering to persons with disabilities over the last 7 years. There's also a perception that people with disabilities don't like to pay for accessibility services because some people say that they might feel entitled that accessibility is a right. Have you faced similar experiences, or have people with disabilities been good consumers?
So it will be funny for you to know, the year I launched Nobaflix 2023, that's when a lot of people had a problem because they were not really able to understand why do they have to verify themselves as a visually impaired. And sometimes they feel that,
And I assume that's because of copyright laws, right? That you
Yes.
need to take that verification.
So if they have shared their disability certificate or verified themselves as visually impaired, now when the screen of buying the subscription plan, that's when they object. And then I did a lot of conditioning for the community that your disability certificate is given to you by the government of India. It's not a discount certificate. It's not a discount card कि आप जिधर जाओगे अपना certificate दिखाओगे and सब कुछ free हो जाएगा. ऐसे नहीं होता है. Audio description बनाने का खर्चा होता है. आज मैं बना रही हूँ, but मेरे बाद क्या यार जब मेरे बैंक में पैसे खत्म हो जाएंगे तब क्या करोगे? मूवी नहीं मिलेगी. So this is my vision कि community subscription खरीदे और वही पैसे as salary script writer को जाएंगे, voice over artist को जाएंगे, tech team को जाएंगे and content बनता रहेगा. चाहे दीप्ति प्रसाद रहे ना रहे, आपका Nobaflix चलता रहेगा. So ये चीज समझ में आई. Then second year, so first year people bought subscription, majority of them must have requested for sponsorship. They did receive sponsorship because of the CSR funds that I'm receiving in the foundation. Second year, even if it was a student, 349 per annum is the cost. They made sure कि वो पैसा arrange करके side में रख दे so that they buy their subscription. So there is a change in perception कि नहीं, अगर मेरे को ये content देखने में मजा आ रहा है, मेरे को ये app use करने में मजा आ रहा
It's
है,
worth spending this money.
I want to spend that money.
And you have 25,000 subscribers today.
35.
35,000 subscribers. Oh, wow. That's a massive number. And how many people are using Excel Cinema?
Excel Cinema is approximately 60,000.
And is there any charge to use Excel as well?
No, Excel Cinema is free to use for the community.
What's your revenue model there?
I charge the production house as a service fee.
Oh, okay. You've
For
got it
creating.
all sorted out, Dipti. Do you think there is space for people, young entrepreneurs who want to get into offering products and services for disability to come into India and look at it as a business case and not just as an entrepreneur? And what would be your message to young entrepreneurs?
I think AI is the solution to a lot of problems here, whether it is vision disabilities or hearing disabilities. AI can solve quite a lot of problems that we are facing today, and it can become cost efficient also. But one must remember the pros and cons of using AI. Use AI as your friend, not as your substitute. And
What do you mean by that?
so make AI, train your AI model, but watch out on this, that how much information are you delegating it to your AI agent, whichever company AI mechanism
Are you using AI in any of your apps?
Yes. So on both the platforms to make, so for example, when I started back then in 2018, it used to take us a week or 10 days to create one audio description for 2 hours movie. Today we are delivering it in 24 hours.
Wow.
So technology has helped me.
And that's, I'm sure, making it more cost effective for producers as well compared to others who are in this industry, right?
Correct. So because the softwares are in-house created, TTS sounds, the voices are in-house created. So a lot of it, technology-wise, is also in-house created for me.
But I also found it curious that you know when to not use AI. Like you mentioned that for sign language, you feel that AI is not yet developed, so you're actually using physical sign language interpreters.
Correct.
How do you make that decision when not to use AI?
Now, see, for even if we have to create subtitles or closed captions, there is a lot of translation error that the machine makes. So we need a human to do the quality check. Only then. Now, why am I known in the industry? Not just because I'm doing this since 2018, because I maintain the quality. The community loves the content that I host on my platform because they know even a song is audio described. So that kind of minute details, it's at the end of the day, see, entertainment or this leisure experience is to have that feel good factor. But if you're just going to bombard AI voices in a user's ear, it's not going to be pleasant. Or if you're just going to say action scene hai to mardar chal rahi hai, no, it has to be creative scripting, creative storytelling like. So same for sign language also. We are not yet there that we can just put it on automation. I'm sure we'll get there soon. You know, a lot of, just not me, a lot of companies are working towards this, achieving automation on sign language. And I also believe in collaboration. See, each one of us have a journey, but and the end goal is to serve the community friends, right? But if each one of us is going to reinvent the same wheel or keep running the same race parallelly, we're not really reaching there. Might as just collaborate, partner, and try and help each other and reach the bigger goal, which is serving the country, serving the community members, or even globally, like International Purple Fest. I've met so many people, people from Sweden, people from Germany, people from US, people from Sri Lanka, and everyone wants to collaborate. And that's the right approach to actually build a bigger business, have a larger organization, only when you think that you want to collaborate, and it has to be a team effort.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with you on that. It's very fascinating about you've spoken about collaboration, etc. But I think the government also can play a very important role in ensuring content is accessible. I know there's a lot of litigation going on this in various courts. What do you think can the government really do to help this industry?
See, ever since these guidelines have been issued, a lot of people are looking at is accessibility feature delivery is a business model or a business use case for them, making extra money. There are examples where people are doing the wrong quality or degraded quality of audio description being delivered in the theaters, and government or CBFC is not able to really identify this, because for them it's become a tick box. It's a tick box. Because, and I have given my suggestion, and one suggestion I would like to, two suggestions actually from here I would like to give is, I think CBFC needs to have people with vision disabilities and hearing disabilities on their censor board.
I've said that for different reasons as well. For content to be more sensitive towards people with disabilities, there need to be people with disabilities.
Vision impaired ही बताएगा ना कि quality सही है, उसको cited
इसके अलावा, you know, that, like for example, you know my आँख में चोरी case, right? Where I actually sued the movie because it was very derogatory towards people with disabilities. So I think it's solved multiple problems if there are people with disabilities in the CBFC. So happy to lie with you on that in whatever way.
And also on the delivery platform, there are times when the content is available with audio description, but nobody knows where. Now, Excel Cinema, because of my involvement with the community, because of my proactive attitude towards the community, people know when the movie is available on Excel Cinema, but others are not marketing it that way. For them, again, it's a tech box. Okay, there is some random app which is hosting the content, but the community member doesn't know. So, in that case, the government needs to come forward, maybe issue a tender. All the platforms who are technically, you know, framed to deliver accessibility features need to come out there, government needs to issue a tender, and we need to apply, and the best one should get like at least 3 years or 5 years period of the government support in creating awareness about where the accessibility features are.
I'm sure the government is listening to you and they'll consider this after listening to this podcast. I'm going to ask you one final question. I've taken a lot of your time, and this is a question I've been asking everyone who's come on this podcast. What do you think is the one step the common citizen of India can do to make India an equal opportunity country?
I think the citizens, first of all, need to start interacting more with persons with disability. Treat them as your friend, crack jokes. We don't need to have that serious face. The moment we see a person with disability, there is this serious face with empathy oozing out. No, not required. They are equally funny. They have a sense of humor as well. It's like we all have smartphones today. My phone is on silent, your phone is on ringer mode. That's the difference in the two of us. So if there's one organ which is disabled for whatever reason, one must not forget that at the end of the day, you're still the same human like me. So I think that attitude needs to change in the common man.
Beautifully said. And I think you're the perfect brand ambassador of that, because you were nowhere near disability, and today you're ensuring people with disabilities have the right to entertainment as well. Thank you so much for joining us on this podcast, Dipti.
Thank you for having me, Nipun.